this one I'd like to do. What sequel or reboot was a missed opportunity for greater artistic and economic
Well, I
success?
see when you hear that is a genius answer.
Take it.
The Jack Ryan Tom Clancy series, they have screwed. Other than Hunt for October, they've screwed that up like over and over and over again. And I know the latest one, Shadow Recruiter or whatever it was called, Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, or
Yeah, that's what it was called. Yeah.
it didn't do well, so that probably got canned.
Yeah, I did read where Chris Pine said it was going to be no sequel.
I think that those should have been a franchise, a good franchise. That should have been a franchise that made a killing. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know if it's because Harrison Ford was wrong for it or if the directors were wrong for it. I don't know if they changed the stories too much off of the books. I'm not sure what happened. I just know that, Clear and Present Danger is a very convoluted storyline
Right.
when you watch the movie. And apparently the book is even worse in terms of like intersecting convolution of things going on. And I know that Jack Ryan is not always the hero in them. I don't know what the answer is, but those were very high tech. They were ahead of the curve. In terms of intel and whatnot. Tom Clancy used to get consulted by the Pentagon about foreign military.
Yeah.
So he knew more as a private citizen than military did in some matters. So there was a resource there, and I don't know what the answer is of why they screwed up. I didn't read the books, but I know it should have been what much better franchise.
Yeah, my 2 cents on that would be is I understand that when Harrison Ford joined the franchise, he called for a lot of changes to the scripts. Oh, and went to the CIA to visit. So he was really like picking on them on dramatic realism and things like that. Well, the problem is it's a movie. At the end of the day, you're trying to tell a story, so you want to keep things realistic to a point, but you don't want to like take the fun away, or the story should not be compromised for the sake of just serious realism. And I think Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger probably suffer from that. The problem with that is also, here's the second part of what I think went wrong, is the people that read the books, they're an older crowd.
Yeah.
This is like the 50 and over crowd that read those books.
Yeah.
Well, then when you reboot, if you're 30 and younger, you don't know who Tom Clancy is, and you don't know what Jack Ryan is. I really honestly believe that.
Well, his video games did very well, so there was an audience out there for his stuff.
I just think they missed their window. That's what I think.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't say they missed their window. I don't know. I don't know. It's possible. I do know this from a movie point of view. Harrison Ford's movies, he's still kind of in that phase. Like he comes off very disingenuous in his movies. Mm-hmm. Other than Indiana Jones and Han Solo, which being disingenuous is part of the character. And for instance, there's a scene, and I think it's Clear and Present Danger, where they get ambushed it's like the big scene in the movie where they get stuck in this alley, and it's a car fight, and so they're just getting picked apart. And the scene ends, it's all over with, and then in the next scene he's calling his wife back home, and it's like, Jim Lewis died, and she's like, oh my God. And we're like, we only met Jim Lewis as a viewer like 3 seconds before he died.
Yeah.
But he's like crying, and he's like, Jim Lewis died. Oh my Lord, Jim Lewis. Oh my God. I don't remember the character's name. I named it for the sake of example. But as a viewer, I don't know who it is. I'm not invested in it. I don't know why he's crying. It comes off fake. Comes off phony. In fact, to me, it always come off very pretentious and like kind of like they were trying to, I don't know. It's just pretentious is probably the best word before I dig a hole for myself. There's an elitism.
Yeah.
There was an elitism that Harrison Ford would put into these movies. Does that make sense? Like he's a little too country club now. So it was like not a real emotion. Does that make sense?
I know what you're saying.
And he brought that to the Jack Ryan movies.
Yeah.
So you're watching them like, this is supposed to be a badass high-tech military thriller. And he's talking about this guy died 3 seconds before they killed him off, and he's all weepy about it. I don't even know what you're talking about. Alec Baldwin's character of Jack Ryan, for instance, was very vulnerable. You knew about him. They did visual clues to tell you who he was. You knew he didn't like flying or whatever. What was it? He didn't like turbulence or what was it?
Yeah, he didn't like flying in the turbulence. He was involved at some point in a plane crash.
Yeah,
and was laid up for.
And so like there was visual clues to tell you about his character and stuff, and like it was a visual movie.
Yeah,
and they used visual things to tell the story or whatever. And you got Harrison Ford over here to have a moment of, and you know what it is, an actor saying, "Hey, give me a moment where I'm emotional." Like, okay, well, Jim Lewis died. Oh my God, Jim Lewis. And it comes off that disingenuous.
Right.
And he did the same thing a lot. Harrison Ford, go look back at his movies over that period. He does that a lot. He's very disingenuous in his movies. It's the reason he fell off big time. It's like nobody buys it. Okay.
Well, he wanted to be, he kind of was in that, well, I'm not being taken serious as an actor, and I want to roles more meaty, blah, blah, blah. And I think he just, Alec Baldwin's Jack Ryan was kind of down to earth and would get his hands dirty.
It should have been his franchise.
And it should have been his franchise, but Harrison Ford, we know, finagled to get it from him. And once he got it, he made it way too cerebral. So when in clear and present danger, when the enemies are like whatever, it was like Willem Dafoe and these others who are protecting him. He seemed like the corporate guy, white collar, whatever. And it was, if you put a gun in that version of Jack Ryan's hands, it would have looked odd, because he took him too cerebral, and that's really the big difference.
Well, the whole thing
that's what Harrison Ford was wanting to do. He wanted to be less action hero. It's like, well, good luck with that.
Well, the thing is, he didn't come off cerebral. He came off elitist. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean.
It
didn't work.
He comes off like, I don't know, like even their house is like on this main like by a lighthouse or something.
Well, it's white collar. I mean, it really is.
It's beyond white collar.
I mean, it's like
I'm a Beltway insider.
I mean, I'm a blue blooder. Yeah, Hollywood not Hollywood. Washington.
Like, he comes off as not somebody you relate to as a general audience. Alec Baldwin did. Harrison Ford didn't.
Right.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is Harrison Ford ruined the franchise. And it ain't recovered yet. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I agree with that. I kind of said it in a different way.
Yeah.
I think I was more diplomatic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like Harrison Ford.
But I agree. It should have been Alec Baldwin's franchise.
It should have been Alec Baldwin. And Ben Affleck should have never even touched it. Should never get near it.
Well, my thought on that question, to remind people, it's the what sequel or reboot was a missed opportunity for greater artistic and economic success. My pick on that would be for the Snake Plissken franchise, Escape from New York. Because if you're going to do sequels, you're like, well, Snake Plissken was a great character.
Missed opportunity.
It was a real big missed opportunity. And what they do is they do Escape from L.A., which was almost like let's do a satire and parody of Escape from New York. That was their answer. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
It's like RoboCop 2.
Why don't you do like the Mad Max franchise? We need a new adventure for Snake Plissken. Just having him just relive the first film made no sense to me, and of course it bombed badly. So that was a missed opportunity.
I think where we were maybe as culturally or whatever when Escape from New York or Escape from LA came out, around that same time they had made like the Brady Bunch stuff, the movies, and they put the Brady Bunch like. They didn't actually like do a thing where like it was a show about or a movie about a blended family. They made it where it's the same 70s people in today's world.
Right.
So it was like making fun of itself. And then you had Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
They did a movie of it and it made fun of itself. Instead of just being a cop show about a guy named Starsky and a guy named Hutch.
Right.
So we went through this whole period where, let's do a movie version of it, but make fun of it. Dukes of Hazzard did the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's in a way, Escape from L.A. It felt like that.
That's a great point.
It felt like we're gonna make one, but it's gonna make fun of itself.
Yeah, we'll be self-referential and funny.
but also a little bit of satirical side in there as well. Not so much.
Yeah.
Self-ritual, making fun of itself, and satirical. And RoboCop 2 did the same thing. Escape from LA did a lot of the same things. People grabbed on this idea that RoboCop was funny, and I'm like, yeah, it's got some funny elements, but I don't understand that it's a comedy thing that people always talk about. We've had this conversation before. RoboCop is so darkly humor, like, well, there's humor in it, but I don't know how anybody says it's a dark comedy. There's like, 2 laughs in it?
Dark comedy. Now that's going too far. So, there is satire in RoboCop.
There is in it, but that's not the main it.
Yeah, but it's not meant to be a balls out comedy. And no, of course
or balls out satire even.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
So, but RoboCop 2, they tried to make it that way, and it fails miserably, and they totally don't understand what it's about. Escape from LA was the same thing. Like, even though Carpenter was responsible for both, and it's hard to say that the master didn't know his own thing about. But it's kind of the same problem with the prequels. The master didn't know what his own thing was about.
Yeah, that's a strange one. Like I said, it's always bothered me because Pliskin is just well, I understand the comics so well. So there's a huge demand, or there was at least, for that character. But to have him, the idea that in Escape from New York, he has those pellets.
Yeah.
So it's like you either complete this mission or die. There's that urgency there. Well, then it's like, guys, it's a one-trick pony. You can only do that once. They actually come up with this cockamamie,
the
flu or whatever virus or whatever they try to put into him, whatever, for the Escape from LA. It's a huge mistake. So, guys, that was a one-time thing, plot device. You can't do that for every movie because and that was mistake one, and it didn't get any better after that. And having a weak villain, Cliff Robertson's a good actor, but having him some kind of fanatical, fundamentalist nut job, that didn't work. Just nothing about that worked. That actor they got, Quavo Jones, to be the main villain. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've seen him in a movie since then. I mean, he was terrible. It was just terrible. So yeah, when you when you have a great property like that, I wish they would have taken more care because they had the budget. They were given a big budget,
right?
So it's a shame. And I love Snake Plissken, the character, but damn, that was.
Well, I mean,
I would have loved to have given them some ideas that would have been much better than that.
But having said that, I don't want a remake of Escape from New York. Just leave it alone.
No, just leave it.
Leave it alone. No. It's fine the way it was. I liked it. I just pretend Escape from LA is just sort of there.
It didn't happen. Yeah.
It didn't happen. I put in those sequels that kind of didn't happen thing.
Yeah.
So